Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the June 20th, 2020 edition of Pro Wrestling Throwdown. I'm Caleb Black. He's Luke the Big Dog Williams. Over there is the Mountain himself, Max Fury, our in-studio producer. How are we doing this Saturday, boys?
I mean, I'm going to just for the sake of sake say, it's been an interesting week.
What the fuck?
It has.
Oh, man. I got new glasses, as y'all can see. No more tape.
Yeah, no more tape. He doesn't look like he's from Dudleyville anymore.
Well, it's debatable.
You shut up. All right, guys. Well, it's time to break down the news. And as we covered in our special address,
Here we go again.
we got some news. We're going to start off on the easy stuff. We're going to talk about how USA Network right now is unhappy that Paul Heyman has been removed from his creative position, overseeing the production of Raw. Luke, what do you think about USA Network?
I think, honestly, I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
I think that Paul Heyman got kind of the Raw deal as soon as he took...
The Raw deal.
See what I did there? I think due to the pandemic, he didn't get the opportunity to really do what we all know Paul Heyman can do.
I agree, and I also think that Paul Heyman creatively really only works if Paul Heyman's in charge. And as long as Vince is still going to keep dipping his hand back in the pocket, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Paul Heyman is one of those guys, he writes for a crowd.
Yeah.
There is no crowd. Now, let me rephrase that. There's no actual crowd.
Yeah.
The people who they have in the crowd are, for lack of a better term, they're plants.
Yeah.
They cheer and they boo who they're told to cheer and boo. You can't do that with Paul Heyman's writing. I don't like the fact that Bruce Pritchard took over. I completely understand with USA. They want their show on their brand, on their channel to be its own entity. They don't want the same writer producing a show for SmackDown.
Right.
That is the same show that they're producing.
Well, it's interesting, too, because remember, Fox wasn't really necessarily happy that Bischoff was removed either.
No.
Because that was kind of like the linchpin that he negotiated better with the networks, and it worked perfectly for him to be on Fox. So, I don't know. We're going to keep our eyes on USA and see what's going to happen. Obviously, with Pritchard heading both shows, time's going to tell.
I have no problem with Pritchard. I think that only thing I think is that his writing style is about 10 years...
20 years.
Yeah, over the line. Speaking of Raw, though, how about the trade that was announced for AJ that Raw is now getting Mustafa Ali?
Yep.
And Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler is such an underrated performer by WWE standards because he can do anything.
Anything.
Do anything.
Absolutely agree.
And I think Raw is a good platform to be on because of the level of entertainment he provides.
Yeah.
I would really like to see him in a serious run.
Well, and in my opinion, and I've went on record saying this before, Dolph Ziggler is about as close to Shawn Michaels as you can possibly get in today's climate. In that kind of
I completely agree.
I would not disagree with that.
Yeah, he's the show-off. And
he's the guy that goes out and constantly has 4-star matches with anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone. That he's got the look. He's talented on the mic. And he dabbles. He's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
He does things outside the realm, and he's Mr. 24/7.
And if you're going to trade an athlete of AJ's caliber, them getting Dolph Ziggler is an equal trade.
And Mustafa Ali. Somebody in the beginning of his career who
great
also
babyface buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good trade. All right, now we're going to get into, actually before that we got another bit of news. Ryback engaging. Remember last week we had a bunch of Twitter feuds going on. Ryback made some disparaging comments about CM Punk. Akin to wrestling a 90-year-old Karen.
I don't even know who Karen is. I'm old.
I don't
get it.
Like at the time,
I was always understanding that it was Sharon and not Karen. So
Sharon.
I guess I've missed things.
I guess
I think it had something to do with that Karen meme that goes around Facebook, but I don't actually know what that is. So if anybody, anybody knows,
it's a white woman with a basic haircut who wants to speak to your manager. That's what a Karen is.
Is that the one that they kind of pinned off of the how do I put this politically?
No, just say it. Fuck it.
The former gentleman who is now a lady
I don't know.
No.
Fighting, because that's what comes to mind for me. No, that's not it. Like I said, I'm out of the loop.
It's generic, it's just...
That was big, the last thing I remember.
Let us know.
I think it's interesting
Comments.
that CM Punk's being talked a lot about lately. And Ryback and Punk have always kind of had disparaging comments to make about one another. And then, of course, we had AJ and Punk's exchange last week.
Well, you had Punk and Bret Hart on backstage.
Yeah.
Talking about the possibility of what they could have done together.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the news. Ryback is not in the news. Ryback is trying to pick
one of them is relevant, and the other one's Ryback.
Exactly. Technically, the only relevant one of it all is Bret Hart, believe it or not.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys. Time to talk. As we discussed in the special address, we will be covering...
Should we dim the lights?
We will be covering the repercussions of the Speak Out movement. We've got two big ones. Number one, Dave Lagana resigns his position as vice president of the NWA.
I wonder if he's going to ride the proverbial dirt bike with the bucket of chicken thing, because
gosh.
Now I say that I'm not trying to be like that, but let's be fair. How can you take a joke for somebody
that was just a dated joke for anything
when you're doing something 12 times worse and feel justified?
And here's the rub. Cornette's name has been incorporated in this allegation as well.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to insult your intelligence. You know what's going on.
And that the fucking shame of that is Cornette would have been a perfect replacement for the NWA over Lagana.
He really would have.
And now that's
not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. So
somebody get Billy Corgan's number.
Yeah, right. Impact still owes him money. We're going to find out what happens after the NWA. They've halted production until the restructuring is complete.
That's a shame.
But it will give them time to kind of restructure things and get a fresh start once the pandemic's over.
Of course, to be fair, they haven't been really having any live product anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they're all going to get a fresh start, and I think it's going to be a good move for the NWA.
Keep it the old school thing, though. Don't ruin the old school thing.
WWE releases a press statement basically indicating that they're going to stand by the victims, and anyone who is accused is going to be suspended. Is
anyone
that right?
who is arrested.
Anyone arrested is going to be suspended, and anyone convicted is going to be fired. Immediately.
On the spot.
On the spot, without question. So kudos to the WWE, because we all know that, the WWE and Vince McMahon have always had skeletons in their closets, and they cover up shady things. It's really refreshing to see that in this day and age, they're finally going to start taking some responsibility.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. There really isn't a choice.
And that brings us to the biggest... So far, the big first official firing due to the allegations. The not-so-gentleman Jack Gallagher has been removed from the WWE immediately, not even given a future endeavor. And the WWE is going to omit him from his recent re-signing and his recent activity in the WWE.
Now, we're going to cover somewhat of this later in a later video, but is it not eerie that the last time someone was erased from WWE history, it's the anniversary of that, another wrestler is being erased from WWE history. Is that not timing?
Yes,
it's a weird time.
I mean, that will be discussed a little bit later.
But I mean, the timing of that is impeccable. It's ridiculous.
But you know what?
I didn't even put that together yet.
And I'll be honest, I don't think I've done as much research about the Gallagher accusations that is necessary. But fuck him.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Here's the deal. And the sad part is I was a fan.
Yeah.
I love the whole gimmick. I love the umbrella thing. It was good. It was good shit.
Yeah.
But
that's good shit.
I mean, you also have to be a decent human being and not a fuck.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a shame, but I mean, the WWE will get along without him because let's face it, he was a tiny spoke on a giant wheel.
That's right. That's going to wrap us up here for the news. What did you guys think about USA Network being upset about Heyman's release? What do you guys think about Gallagher's release. What do you think about Ryback? Still not understanding how Twitter and relevancy works.
Just tell us what you think.
Let us know at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook.com/ProWrestlingThrowdown. Or after you hit that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment down below. Stay tuned for the pay-per-view post-show Backlash.